So by the 2nd century BCE, we find short votive inscriptions. Now this is a source of our information. In a number of cities, these mention the name of the donor who donated and sometimes specify his or her occupation as well. What are votive inscriptions? Votive inscriptions are they record gifts. They are inscriptions. They record gifts made to religious institutions. Okay? So any gifts, any donations that are made to religious institutions were written, a record was kept, inscriptions were made, and those inscriptions carry the name of the donor and sometimes his occupation also. So what do we know from here? They tell us about people who lived in towns. So we come to know about so many things from even votive inscriptions. We come to know about what kind of people lived there who donated. Washing folk, people who washed clothes for others, weavers, scribes are the people who write. Now suppose I want to write a book and I hire a scribe. I dictate him, he writes for me, okay? Carpenters, potters, goldsmiths, blacksmiths, officials, religious teachers, merchants, and kings. Sometimes guilds or trainees. What are guilds and trainees? Organization of craft producers and merchants are mentioned as well. These guilds probably procured raw materials, regulated production, and marketed the finished product. It is likely that craftspersons used a range of iron tools to meet the growing demands of the urban elites. Okay? Trade in the subcontinent and beyond. From the 6th century BCE, land and river routes crisscrossed the subcontinent and extended in various directions. Crisscross means they crossed each other. Overland into Central Asia and beyond, and overseas from ports that dotted the coastline, extending across the Arabian Sea to East and North Africa and West Asia, and through the Bay of Bengal to Southeast Asia and China. Children, you should look at these things, these areas in your map. I'm sure you all have atlases. Spend some time with atlas. Rulers often attempted to control these routes, possibly by offering protection for a price. Now, because traders were moving around for trade, crossing such huge areas as we have seen here, so rulers, they provided protection, but they charged for the protection that they provided to the traders. Those who traversed these routes included peddlers, that means people who sell their wares, who sell their things on foot, who probably traveled on foot, and merchants who traveled with caravans of bullock carts and pack animals. Also, there were seafarers. Seafarers means people who went to other places through sea or water routes, whose ventures were risky but highly profitable. Successful merchants, designated as Masatwan in Tamil and Settis and Satavahans in Prakrit, could become enormously rich. A wide range of goods were carried from one place to another. Some of the goods are salt, grain, cloth, metal ore, raw metal, finished products, stone, timber means wood, just wood, medicinal plants, to name a few. Spices, especially pepper, mirchi, kali mirchi, were in high demand in the Roman Empire, as were textiles and medicinal plants, and these were all transported across the Arabian Sea to the Mediterranean. Okay? coins and kings. To some extent, now coins are also a very good source of information. Exchanges were facilitated by the introduction of coins. Before the coming of coins, people used to exchange goods, as you have done in 10th standard also, barter system. But by coming up of the coins, it was easy to exchange goods. Punch-marked coins made of silver and copper. Now, punch-marked. Metal, when the metal is hot, they used to punch on it. Okay. Punch-marked coins made of silver and copper, 6th century BCE onwards, were amongst the earliest to be minted and used. These have been recovered from, how do we know? We have recovered coins from excavations at a number of sites throughout the Indian subcontinent. Now, numismatics. Numismatics is the study of coins. It is a branch that studies coins. Have studied these and other coins to reconstruct possible commercial network. Now, because of coins, we know who traded till where, what were the trade routes, how far the trading was taking place. So we get a lot of information through just the discovery of coins, discovery of old coins through archaeological methods. Attempts made to identify the symbols on punch-marked coins with specific ruling dynasties, including the Mauryas, suggest that these were issued by the kings. It is also likely that merchants, bankers, townspeople issued some of these coins. Can we do this today in present times? No. In present times, who issues the coins or the currency? Only RBI. And in those days, the king, the bankers, the merchants, townspeople, they also issued coins. So all the coins had some marks on them. Okay, punch marks. From these punch marks, we come to know who issued the coins. And from that, we come to know who were the influential people. Only influential people could issue the coins. All right? Okay. The first coins to bear the names and images of the rulers were issued by Indo-Greeks, who established control over northwestern part of the subcontinent in 2nd century BCE. The first gold coins were issued circa 1st century CE by the Kushanas. Coins were made of gold. These were virtually identical in weight with those issued by contemporary at the same time when Kushanas were issuing gold coins. When Kushanas were ruling, at the same time, Roman emperors were also issuing coins. So they say maybe they were influenced by them, and Parthian rulers of Iran, and have been found from several sites in North India and Central Asia. The widespread use of gold coins indicates the enormous value of transactions that were taking place. Because we have found these gold coins at such a vast area, we come to know about how big the transactions were taking place and how from where to where the trade was taking place. Besides, hoards, dher mila hai. Hoards of Roman coins have been found. ऐसे होड्स बने में, होड्स को हिंदी में कहेंगे ढेर, जैसे पत्थरों का ढेर होता है ऐसे कॉइन्स का ढेर मिला है. From archaeological sites in South India, it is obvious Roman coins मिले. That means Romans traded with people in South India. It is obvious that network of trade were not confined within political boundaries. South India was not part of Roman Empire, but there were close connections through trade. Coins were also issued by tribal republic, such as that of the Yodhas of Punjab and Haryana. There were tribal people ruling there, and they also issued coins. archaeologists have unearthed several thousand copper coins issued by the Yodhas, pointing to the latter's interest and participation in economic exchanges. Some of the most spectacular gold coins, spectacular means very good to look at, very beautiful, were issued by the Gupta rulers. Okay? The earliest issues are remarkable for their purity, pure gold. These coins facilitated long-distance transactions from which kings also benefited. From circa 6th century BCE onwards, finds of gold coins taper off. That means gold coins were less used. So we have not found many gold coins which belong to from this period onwards. Before this period, coins were of gold. Then they started using other metals. Does this indicate that there was some kind of economic crisis, that people switched to some other metal? Historians are divided on this issue. Some suggest that with the collapse of the Western Roman Empire, long-distance trade declined. And this affected the prosperity of the states, communities, and regions that had benefited from it. Others argue that new coins and networks of trade started emerging around this time. They also point out, so some believe that because Roman Empire declined, trade declined because of the fall of the Roman Empire. Others feel that the new towns and networks of trade started emerging around this time. They also point out that though finds of coins of that time are fewer, coins continue to be mentioned in inscriptions. We have not found, some historians are saying, but there is a mention in inscriptions and text. That means there were coins, but we have not found them. Could it be that there are fewer finds because coins were in circulation rather than being hoarded? Maybe they were in circulation, people did not hoard them, जमा करके नहीं रखे हैं, so इसलिए नहीं मिले कि वो जगह जगह बटे हुए हैं. Numismatics is the study of coins, including visual element of the coin. What are these images? What do they convey? Such as script. What's if there is any script on it, something written on it? And images. What do the images stand for? Metallurgical analysis. Metallurgical means what metal was used. And the context in which they have been found. Where have they been found? Have they been found in some city, town, trade center? Where have they been found? Okay. Back to basics. How are inscriptions deciphered? These are inscriptions. So how are they deciphered? Inscriptions, okay? Now, historians used this Brahmi, Ashokan Brahmi, and they have tried to relate it with Devanagari. This is Devanagari. We use Devanagari script to write Hindi and Sanskrit. How are inscriptions deciphered? So far, we have been studying excerpts from inscriptions amongst other things. But how do historians find out what is written on them? Deciphering Brahmi, most scripts used to write modern Indian languages are derived from Brahmi. So any important modern language, they use the Brahmi script. The script used in most Ashokan inscriptions. So this script, this is Ashokan inscription and this is the Brahmi script which is used. From the late 18th century, European scholars aided by Indian Pandits, they had to take help from Indian Pandits, worked backwards from contemporary Bengali and Devanagari. First they studied Bengali, Devanagari, then they started moving back in the years to study the scripts. So Devanagari and Bengali scripts are used to write Hindi manuscripts, comparing their letters with the older specimens. Specimen means older, whatever they have found. Scholars who studied earlier inscriptions sometimes assumed these were in Sanskrit, assumed, ऐसे मान लिया था. although the earliest inscriptions were actually in Prakrit. It was only after one decade, 10 years, decades, many 10 years of painstaking investigations by several epigraphists that James Prinsep was able to decipher Ashokan Brahmi in 1838.